False sighting, a tangled thread in the hunt for Jay Slater. The sun was already hanging low over the horizon, casting long shadows across the rugged hills when the call came in. A witness had seen someone matching Jay Slater's description walking near the old service road that wound through the outskirts of the village. To the officers coordinating the fifth consecutive day of search efforts, it felt like a spark in the fog, a thread of hope they couldn't afford to ignore. Teen in a gray hoodie walked past the petrol station around 5:30 a.m. looked disoriented. Heading west, the voice on the other end reported. By now, the police station had become a command center of chaos. Whiteboards cluttered with scribbled times and locations, GPS maps lit with colored pins, officers alternating between caffeine-fueled urgency and blank-eyed fatigue. The false trails had already piled high, each one unraveling hours of effort.
But what choice did they have?
Jay's mother, Claire, sat by the window, her hands wringing a worn jumper Jay had left behind weeks ago. Her face bore the pale tautness of someone trapped in slow-motion panic, living the same hour over and over again. Each alert, each knock on the door, each speculative murmur in the press, raised her hope and then crushed it anew. They said they saw him, Claire murmured, more to herself than to anyone else. What if that's him? What if he's cold, scared, and waiting for someone to bring him home? But something inside her also churned with dread. What if it's another mistake? 3 patrol cars sped off toward the service road. Volunteers followed in pickups. Drones were launched to comb the hillsides and ravines. Every vehicle along the stretch was stopped and checked, drivers questioned, boots of cars inspected. A helicopter circled the area, its spotlight slicing through early twilight. And yet, by 9 p.m., the airwaves crackled with the now familiar refrain, negative sighting. No hoodie, no boy. Just a traveler heading to a pre-dawn job, his gray fleece pulled tight against the morning chill. A man who vaguely resembled Jay from a distance if you squinted and wanted to believe. Inside the mobile command tent, the mood turned acidic. Another wild goose chase, one officer muttered under his breath. But it wasn't just hours wasted. It was manpower, drones, search dogs, every eye and ear that had been diverted from the core search radius. And, perhaps most painfully, it was a betrayal of hope. Jay Slater had vanished without a trace after attending a local music festival, a burst of color, bass, and youth that turned abruptly into a nightmare. He'd left early, telling friends he was going to meet someone. His phone last pinged a signal near a desolate stretch of hills, then nothing. In the days since, every theory had been floated. He wandered off disoriented and injured himself. He got lost.
He was picked up by someone.
Or, the one Claire couldn't say aloud without her throat locking, he was taken. Claire's fear was no longer abstract. She could feel it, like a presence in the room, whispering terrible what-ifs. Jay was just 17. He loved photography and was obsessed with old architecture. He once got detention for climbing onto the roof of the school to get a better angle. He wasn't reckless, just curious. And now he was gone. The false sighting, as it would be cataloged in the incident log, was one of nearly a dozen since the search began. Social media had only intensified the confusion, with people sharing grainy photos, misinterpreting shadows, mistaking other boys for Jay. Claire stopped checking Facebook when someone posted a picture of a totally unrelated boy with a caption, "Found him." But false hope, like false trails, can be dangerous. Superintendent Ainsley, who led the operation, was careful with his words. "We investigate every report thoroughly. But unfortunately, not all of them are credible. Today's sighting did not lead us to Jay." He didn't mention the hours it took, or the strain it placed on a team already pushed to its limits, or how each misstep left the family more frayed, the community more skeptical. He didn't have to. Everyone already knew. By midnight, the hills were quiet again, the searchers gone. Claire sat outside the station, her arms wrapped around herself. One of the officers brought her tea she wouldn't drink. "He's out there," she whispered. "Or he's not. But I need to know." The officer said nothing. What do you say to a mother whose world has been reduced to question marks? And still the days marched on. Another tip. Another map. Another moment when everyone held their breath. Claire clung to each report like it was the last. But as the leads thinned and public interest began to fade, she felt the cold tide of reality begin to lap at her feet. People were already moving on, talking about other stories, other emergencies. But not her. For her, every moment since Jay disappeared had been the same moment, stretched thin and bitter. She wasn't ready to give up.
Not yet.
Even if each false sighting was a blade through her heart. Hope is a dangerous thing. It's what makes you run toward the sound in the dark. It's what makes you comb through forests at dawn and rivers at dusk. It's what makes a mother sit up all night staring at the door, willing it to open. And even when hope proves false, even when it leads you in circles, it's still the only thing you have left when the world refuses to give you answers. Claire would keep searching. She would endure every wasted hour, every false report, every empty lead. Because somewhere, out there in the unknown, was her son. And she was not leaving without him. Would you like this adapted into a new style article or dramatized?